Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. Now, picture this. You and a colleague are working together. Just say a hot dog stand, right? And one person figured that you have it so good that they want to be you. They want to be you so much until they create your whole identity, have a kid under your name, you marry under your colleague's name, and the colleague that's tried to prove to people for years that that's not the right person was placed in a mental institution. That's exactly what happened to this gentleman here. So let's talk about this. Hospital administrator stole a man's identity. How the fallout led to the victim to be placed or to be sent to a psychiatric facility. So let's put this guy on full mask so we could talk about how he did his former colleague a disservice, disjustice, and a whole lot of disses. All right. So in 2019, William Donald Woods walked into a national bank in Los Angeles and said his identity had been stolen and he could not pay the large debts that had been occurred under his name. All right, so let's start this off so we can get a full indication of what actually happened so you can understand if this is something that's straight out of science fiction. All right. He brought his social security card and authentic state identification, but federal prosecutors in Iowa say Woods, who was homeless at the time, could not answer a set of security questions connected to the account, and the bank called the Los Angeles Police Department. All right. So that's why on my thumbnail I put the hot dog stand because these guys actually met at a hot dog stand. Right. All right. So let's keep going. The LAPD contacted who they believed to be the actual Woods in Wisconsin. And that man faxed them what prosecutors now say was a series of phony identification documents telling them by phone that he had not authorized anyone in California to access his bank accounts. So this guy stole the man's identity and he went to the extent to live this man's life. The other man is of course like the article said, homeless, and because he was homeless, his identity had nothing to do with it, right? Police arrested Woods, charging him under the name Matthew David Keirans on two felony charges and held him without bail at the Los Angeles County Jail August 20th, 2019. Boy, this is bad. Throughout criminal proceedings, Woods never wavered. He was not Matthew Keirans, right? A California state court ordered him to use only their true name, Matthew Keirans, per order cited by the Iowa prosecutors. Referred to as California Bill in the criminal complaint obtained by people, Woods would spend 428 days in jail, and when a judge determined that he was not competent to stand trial, he was forced to stand another 147 days at a California mental hospital. Our prosecutors say the court also ordered him placed on psychotropic medication. Now, this is a man who had nothing to do with none of the stuff that this man did to him. This is a true crime. I got a segment on my channel that I call True Crime, and that's what this is. Now, prosecutors say the law enforcement got it wrong. The prosecutors say the law enforcement got it wrong. How did they prove it wrong? Well, what he did was they had to go back and they had to do a DNA analysis to determine that the man wasn't so incompetent that he did not know what was happening to him was wrong. All right. So this is the real Matthew David Keirans. Maybe I hope Keirans, or however you pronounce it. He stole the man identity. Another man, dubbed by prosecutors as Wisconsin Bill, is in fact Matthew David Keirans, 58, a high level Iowa City hospital administrator who had stolen the man's identity more than 30 years ago after the two worked together at a hot dog cart in Albuquerque, New Mexico in the late 1980s. So think about it. He 58 is more than 30 years ago. He stole the man identity when they both possibly were in their 20s. You stole this man identity. You are a terrible person for doing that to this gentleman. And California Bill had unjustly spent 575 days detained after he proclaimed his own identity and didn't waver. Keirans pleaded guilty Monday, April 1st, to one count of false statement to a National Credit Union Administration insured institution and one count of aggravated identity theft per a press release from the Northern District of Iowa U.S. Attorney's Office. Now, you may ask to yourself, how did he do this? Well, that's still a mystery that we're going to unfold. But how did they uncover this? Well, they did DNA tests on the gentleman that stole the hospital administrator. He was forced to do a DNA test. All right. Keirans used Wood's identity for every aspect of his life with crime identification for more than 3 decades per the complaint. For 30 years, you lived as somebody else. You are a horrible person for doing this to this gentleman. Horrible. In 2013, Keirans was hired under his Woods alias at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics in Iowa City, Iowa, using false documents, including, per prosecutors, a fictitious I-9 form, social security number, date of birth, and other identification documents in his victim's name. He later worked at there remotely from Wisconsin, right? So here you got this fraud working at the hospital under false pretenses, and this unfolded possibly a huge lawsuit, possibly in the future. This dude was straight up out of a comic book. He also took out 8 vehicle and personal loans totaling more than 200,000 from 2 Iowa credit unions using Wood's name, social security number, and date of birth. He also kept deposits at the National Bank where the actual Woods was arrested in his first attempt to report him. All right. Meanwhile, Woods, who was released from jail in 2021 after pleading no contest to the false charges in exchange for time served, began to investigate the man whose how you pronounce that? I don't know. Led to his being thrown in jail. Coming across Karen's employment in January 2023, Woods contacted the hospital security department, who in turn called local law enforcement. In a July interview with the detective, Karen's, who had pretended to be Woods for more than half his life, called Woods crazy and said he needed help and should be locked up. During Woods' incarceration, Karens had called the LAPD and city's district attorney's office numerous times per prosecutors requesting updates on Wood's prosecution. So he knew that the gig probably was going to be up. So he probably wanted this gentleman to be in jail for the rest of his life. But Karen's identity theft scheme unraveled. Prosecutors say after DNA evidence proved an elderly man in Kentucky who both Bills claimed to be their father was in fact Wood's father. Karen's sentencing has not yet been slated, but prosecutors say he could spend as little as 2 years or as much as 32 years behind bars for the decades long identity theft. He could also be fined 1.25 million. His lawyer, Christopher J. Nathan, did not respond to people's request for comment in time for publication. Now, this dude is a terrible person. Let's see if we can find his name. How it goes even deeper though. It goes even deeper. All right, this person, Matthew David. All right, let's see. Let's see something. How are you only going to possibly give him 2 years in jail? All right, so look. Let's see right here. So right here, a stolen identity victim was imprisoned, institutionalized, and considered crazy after pleading his case that a Heartland, Wisconsin man stole his name and social security number when the two worked together at a hot dog cart in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 36 years ago. So now we got a definite number. There were 22. There were 22. Wait, Matthew David was 22. All right. So Matthew David Keirans, 58, has been living in Heartland for at least 15 years, but has been using the name William Donald Woods. According to prosecutors, Keirans has been using Woods' name for insurance, loans, credit, driver's license, and even paid taxes in the false name. Keirans obtained remote employment in the IT department at the University of Iowa Hospital, where he made over $140,000 a year. Using Wood's identity, he pleaded guilty in federal court in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on Monday to two counts related to the identity theft scheme. Now, what I want to point out, he ended up having a child as well. He had a child. And the child name, all right, so I don't want to go to, he had a child. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Look at this. Look at this. Matthew Keirans and started a family under the man's name. Karen married his wife, Nancy Zimmer, in 1994 and had a child whose last name is Woods. This is a real life psychopath. This woman didn't even know who she was marrying. And I want to know, how did it go for the family reunions and visiting family members and yada yada yada. His family wrote letters to the court in November. Matt has been my husband and chief support for our family. Well, guess what? He is a fraud. Because guess what? He's a fraud. Matt has been my husband and chief supporter for our family, Zimmer said, adding the couples met in Salem, Oregon, and moved frequently to pursue educational and job opportunities. All right. Matt established our home in Wisconsin for 15 years ago. And after our son's elementary school was finished for the academic year, we joined him at the townhouse apartment he rented. we had resided in since our move from Kentucky. Keirans also worked at Kohl's corporate headquarters in Menominee Falls for about 5 years, according to Zimmer. She said when he got the job at the Iowa hospital, he initially commuted some of the days before being allowed to work from home. Keirans developed skills in computer science and had a role in development of systems at the Iowa hospital, Zimmer said. I think all those who have taken up my role as Matt's wife, I think I think all those who have taken up my role as Matt's wife, the nurses, doctors, counselors, and cooks, and all of those in the judicial system who have faithfully exercised their duties, officers, clerks, attorneys, and judges, to resolve this matter so that Matt may restart his civil life by lawful means and so that we may resume our happily ever. Zimmer is a nutcase as well. If she think that they had a forever, the man was a fraud, woman. His son wrote to the court, I am son of Matthew Keirans, formerly known as William Woods. In either case, known to me as Dad, I'm writing this letter to inform that the reader as to his relationship with me. He has raised me, parented me, supported me for as long as I can remember. He gave me my first computer, my interest in STEM, science fiction, and fantasy. He paid for the car drive and my tuition. He added, for as long as I've been alive, he has worked hard to provide for my mom and me. We have lived together in Wisconsin for approximately 15 years, and I hope you find it reasonable for him to return to live with us again. Karens will be sentenced by U.S. District Court Chief Judge C.J. Williams after a report is prepared. He remains in custody of the United States Marshals pending sentencing. He faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 2 years in prison and a possible maximum sentence of 32 years in prison and a 1.25 million fine. This guy is a fool. And for his family to go along with his schemes is also foolish. Nevertheless, this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe. I want to get both articles together. I don't see too many people speaking about this, but this is crazy, right? But we on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel. We need 2 more subscribers to get us there. Hit that notification bell so you can see when I drop new videos. And once again, we'll be seeing you in the next video.